Hi there! It's good to see you. Welcome to Arts and Crafts with Miss Kyla. That's me. I'm an artist and teacher coming to you from Southern California, and I'm so excited to get to work with you through Encore. Just a few things before we get started. Before you start any new arts and crafts project, it's important to get organized. So we want to make sure our space is okay for us to work in. You might be on the floor, at a table or a counter, or outside. Wherever you are, it's probably a good idea to cover your workspace with a tablecloth or a big piece of paper. That'll make cleanup just that much easier. For this project, you might want to use scissors, glue, or other craft supplies around your space. Make sure whatever you're using, it's okay for you to use, and if you're not sure, ask an adult. You might also find you need help cutting or gluing something, and an adult isn't available to help you right now. You can always get creative and think of another way to do what you want with your project, or you can be patient and go back to that step later. I can't wait to get started on this week's project, so let's get going. This week we'll be doing a craft inspired by A Stone Sat Still by Brendan Wenzel. This story is all about different ways of seeing the same thing, so I'm excited to see all of the unique ideas that you guys come up with. For this craft, you'll want one big piece of white paper, a piece of brown, gray, or white paper that you're going to color, some crayons, a pair of scissors, a pencil, and some glue. Remember that and some glue. Since we're gluing paper to paper, it's probably a good idea to use a glue stick instead of liquid glue if you have both. As always, you are welcome to substitute anything you want or anything you'd like to try and include into your craft. It is completely up to you. We're going to be doing a quadrant drawing. Quadrant usually means 4 parts. So we're going to take our big piece of paper and fold it into 4 sections. So the way we're going to do this is by laying the paper down long ways to ourselves, or what we call portrait. Then I'm going to take the top edge of my paper and fold it down so it meets my bottom edge. And I'm going to check to make sure my corners are perfectly lined up, or as close to perfect as I could get. Then we're just going to fold our paper in half. From there, don't unfold your paper. Instead, lay it long ways again, with the short side facing you and the long side facing the side. And the long side leading away. And take that top edge and fold it down to your bottom again. Then go ahead and fold that side down as well. And with that, your paper should have 4 nice sized sections. Now go ahead and lay that down to the side. So next we're going to take our brown paper and lay it down side to side, or landscape, in front of us. Then we're going to take our crayons and, using as many colors as we can or want to, we're going to color a big section of our paper as entirely as we can. So we want to really cover it with our crayons. So I'm going to start with my gray crayon, and I'm going to start drawing some crazy squiggles over a big section of this paper. And then I'm going to add some more colors to make my section as colorful and covered in crayon as I possibly can. You should only need about half the size of your piece of paper for this. So I used about 7 or 8 different colors and created this crazy pattern that has all of these different colors in it. Now this is what we're going to cut our stones out of. And since we're doing a quadrant drawing with 4 parts, we're going to be cutting 4 different stones out of this. First, I'm going to cut off the half of my paper with no crayon on it, because it's not going to be a part of my stone. Next, just like we did with our white piece of paper, we're going to fold this colored piece of paper into 4 pieces as well. So the same thing we did before, we're going to lay it down long ways from ourselves, or portrait, and I'm going to do this with the crayon facing up so that I don't get crayon all over my hands. So I'm going to fold the top edge down to the bottom, make sure it lines up. Then I'm going to flip it over down to the bottom, make sure it And you should end up with something like this, with our crayon color inside. Then I'm going to take this piece of paper and lay it down long ways again, and the same thing, I'm going to fold it in half. So now we have this small folded piece of paper with our crayon drawing all the way inside. So what I'm going to do is go from the closed side where I folded, not the open side where my edges connect. And I'm going to cut the shape of a stone out of this side. I'm going to make sure that this folded side stays connected. Your stone can be any shape, just make sure that this side doesn't get cut. Now I'm going to throw away my extra. What I should end up with is 2 round stones with a crease in the middle. So next what I'm going to do is cut these stones in half right along the crease that I folded before. So now I have 4 identical stones with my drawing on top. If you're having trouble cutting through your folded piece of paper, you can always start from your flat piece of paper and simply cut out 4 stones straight from that. So next I'm going to take my quadrant paper, and in each of these quadrants I'm going to glue one of my stones. Depending on what your stone is shaped like, you might want to put it in a different spot. I'm going to put mine at the bottom center of each of my boxes. So once again, I'm going to use my glue stick, and you don't need very much glue to get paper to stick to itself. So now I've glued my 4 stones to my 4 different quadrants. Now, a stone sat still is all about the different ways that different creatures see these stones. It's always the same stone, but to each creature it's something new and something different. So as we listen to Quill reading our story, we're going to draw some things that we think these stones could be. You can listen to the story to get some inspiration, or you can start drawing right now. Remember, there is no right or wrong answer. It is all what you see the stones being. Maybe it's a nice place to take a nap or a beautiful outdoor restaurant. It is entirely up to you. So let's work on our drawings while Quill reads our story for today. Quill?
Hi everyone, it's good to see you. My name's Quill and I'm Miss Kyla's assistant. This week, I'm going to be reading A Stone Sat Still by Brendan Wenzel. This is a great story all about the different ways that different creatures see the same stone. All right, here we go. A stone sat still with the water, grass, and dirt, and it was as it was where it was in the world. And the stone was dark, and the stone was bright, and the stone was loud, and the stone was quiet, and it sat where it sat with the water, grass, and dirt, and it was as it was where it was in the world. And the stone was rough, and the stone was smooth, and the stone was green, red, purple, and blue. And the stone was a pebble, and the stone was a hill, and the stone was a feel, and the stone was a smell. And it sat where it sat with the water, grass, and dirt. And it was as it was where it was in the world. And the stone was the wild, and the stone was a home, and the stone was a kitchen, and the stone was a throne, and the stone was a marker, and a map, and a maze, a danger, a haven, a story, a stage. And the stone was a blink, and the stone was an age, and the stone was an island, and the stone was a wave, and the stone was a memory, and the stone was always. Have you ever known such a place? And it sat where it sat, with the water, grass, and dirt, and it was as it was, where it was in the world. The end. Wow, I love that story. Isn't it beautiful? Well, Miss Kyla should be done with her drawings by now. I'll send you back to her. See you next time. Bye!
Wow, that was an awesome story, and it gave me so many great ideas for what my stones could be to different creatures. So I drew a worm sitting in a sun chair and having a relaxing afternoon, some ants doing a hurdle race, some beetles having a dance party, and a fox having a birthday cupcake. I bet you came up with some awesome ideas too. Remember, when we're drawing, we can always add something more. A new color, an added pattern, a new creature, anything you want. So stay curious, get creative, and I'll see you next time. Bye!